Hello, Village Gamer. I hope you are doing great. I am doing fantastic because, as you can see, I got my setup back. My computer is finally working. I got my GPU back. I am very happy. So I hope you are tonight. As you can see, our usual game master is not here. Crian is in South Africa. So this will be just, yes, Adam and I. That means no one is here to raid us in. We're gonna talk for ages and go in tangent everywhere. So yes, stay comfy in your seat because you are with us for quite a while. And with this said, let me do the quick cleaning right away. We are nearly at 1,250 subscribers, only 3 left. So please like, subscribe, and share. Please leave your comments because we love talking to you, absolutely. And with this done, Adam, what are we doing today?
Okay, well, to start us off, I'm going to be talking about Helldivers 2, which has been really popular. But a little bit too popular because what's been happening is people are not able to log into the game. And the reason for that is the servers are just at capacity. And yeah, unfortunately, part of the problem is that because this game has become so popular, you can't log in. And that means that people are trying to find ways around it. And one of the ways that they've been finding around it is that they're actually not logging out of the game overnight. So just letting the game run. And then in the morning, they can just hop back in because they never left the game. The CEO of the Helldivers 2 team, I don't remember, for whatever reason, I can't remember the name of Arrowhead. That's what they are. He came out and he said, if you have no cash, get it later. While we have made a really fun game, it's worth waiting until the service can support the capacity. I mean, as a CEO, I of course want the game to be as profitable as possible. But if you spent your last dollar and got stuck in server queues, I'd be heartbroken. So the CEO is even telling people, you know what, this game is probably a little bit too popular for its own good right now. So you know what, if you are don't feel obligated to buy the game just yet. Feel free to wait a while for the servers to kind of calm down and then buy the game later. He's perfectly fine with that. But yeah, the game has been super popular, and they are thinking about implementing some sort of what do you call it, AFK kick, so that people who are just standing around in the game will be kicked eventually. That has not been implemented yet. But they are considering doing that because, yeah, it has been a problem to get into the servers when people are just refusing to even leave the game. So, yeah, don't feel too bad if you haven't gotten into Helldivers 2, but definitely check it out if you are looking into it. It's one of the biggest games. I think it's currently the biggest game on Steam, or has the most concurrent players on Steam currently. It's surpassed Pal World's top concurrent players. Yeah, so real popular. Really would love to play, but unfortunately, I would be running it solo, and I don't think that is the best way to play this game. So, yeah, I'll have to wait until some of my friends grab it.
I'm a bit surprised that there's no AFK, kicked out. I mean, it has been there since Warcraft 20 years ago, so I thought it was a basic thing now, like automatically implemented. So.
Yeah, it's apparently not basic in a lot of things. Final Fantasy 14 had to implement it. I don't remember if it was for Endwalker or Shadowbringers, or maybe even possibly both. But I remember they did put a 30-minute kick on it because people were not logging out of the game due to queue times when one of the patches, or when one of the expansions dropped. I think they eventually got rid of that timer, though, as things cooled down, but yeah.
It's the same time, they have the same problem with each expansion, but it lasts, 2-3 weeks, a month stops, and then the queue come back to normal. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and then people don't need to sit in the queue and do that. So, but okay. Yeah.
Shall we go to the main story for tonight?
Sure.
At least for mine.
Yeah.
Yay. Elden Ring. Woo! As you know, Elden Ring DLC, let me just clean my eyes. Shadow of the Earth Tree. I don't know how to pronounce that properly, but yes, it will be, no, sorry. It's the expected release is June 21st, and with this come the pre-orders. So it's time to take a look at the pre-orders. I checked. I will concentrate on the collector edition, but if you're interested, I think the base DLC is $40 each. If you never had Elden Ring, for $100, you can get the base game plus the DLC and the digital art book and soundtrack. But that's it, no more than that. And after, so here is the beast. The collector edition, it's $250 on Steam, PS5, and Xbox. And you will get a code. Congratulations, you get the Steam code to download your game, of course. You get a physical art book of 40 pages. I don't know the size of it, so because sometimes it looks like a post-it, so I hope it's a proper nice art book. And didn't see the I heard the collector edition of the base game was pretty impressive. So I imagine it's going to be well done. You will get the original soundtrack, of course. You will get the the pre-order bonus will be the Ring of Michaela bonus gesture, so in-game little gesture. It's fun, but that's not really worth $250. What is worth $250 though is the big plastic toy, of course, the statue of Mesmer the Impaler, which is a whopping 46 centimeters. So I didn't really realize, but Alan told me, now that's big. 46 centimeters for a statue is pretty nice. So we'll see how it goes, because I recall that the Horizon Forbidden West statue was big and was absolutely terrible in terms of details. So let's hope that this one will be good. This is for the Steam version. For very quick, for the PS, the pack, it's the voucher codes are compatible for PS4 and PS5, and Xbox wise it's compatible with Xbox One. So that's it. And the thing that you want as well as a collector, the collector's collector edition, the one-of-a-kind display piece, the replica, of course, not the original, but the elaborate replica of always. Once again, a Mesmer the Impaler's helmet, which the picture looks like really cool. It's crafted with precise details, and I believe them there. And comes, of course, first come first serve, hello scalpers, with a numbered certificate of authenticity. This comes at $190, available, only for shipping in US and Canada. So North America, yoo-hoo. Sorry for the others. And of course, it's a collectible and numbered item. Therefore, it's there until it's not. And there won't be any refill. So you can expect scalpers to be on the job. Therefore, if you want it, hurry up, because it looks really, really cool. And well, basically that's it for Elden Ring. I know that everybody is extremely raring to go for the DLC. The community has been asking for it for ages. I never played Elden Ring because Souls game is not really my stuff. You know, I get frustrated very easily when the difficulty is hard. Of course, these games are not made to be easy, unfortunately for me. But it's very cool to see on the stream. And I hope that, first of all, I hope that it will come on the due date, right, on the expected date. And I hope that you will all have a lot of fun on this one. So I know that, Adam, you haven't played it. It's on your wish list, maybe?
It's, funnily enough, is in my library, but what happened was a long time ago, when it was first announced, they listed it as having English in the Southeast Asia region. So I picked it up. I didn't touch it for a long time because I was playing other things. And then when I finally did open the game, then there was no English. So by that point, I mean, PlayStation has like a policy where you have to get a refund on a game. It has to be done within X amount of days, and you have to have not downloaded the game, or maybe it's just not opened the game. But I had passed that time because I've been busy playing other games. and I had opened the game because I didn't realize that there was no English because it had said there was going to be English. So what happened was apparently a lot of people in Southeast Asia had this problem because they had been advertising it. You know, a lot of people in countries where it was not offered in their native language. I think Thailand, I saw a lot of people kind of complaining about it. And prior to that, every From Software game had it come in English. Sekiro had come in English. All the Dark Souls had come with English. For whatever reason, Elden Ring did not. Later on, Armored Core also did not. I don't know why they stopped releasing English, but it had been advertised with English. And so, yeah, a lot of people had gone online and we'd try to get them to add the English. We'd talk to PlayStation. PlayStation said that because it had been advertised with English, it wasn't a problem with PlayStation. It was a problem with Bandai Namco, and therefore Bandai Namco were the ones that were responsible for adding it. And they never did. But recently, From Software apparently bought the IP away from Bandai Namco. So now From Software owns the IP themselves. So hopefully it'll finally get patched and I'll finally be able to play. But otherwise, I am not planning on playing it until that happens. So yeah, the reason I ended up getting it early is because they actually had it on sale. So it was, I think, 30% off. So I told myself if I can find it 70% off and then I'll pay 100% for the original game, I'm fine paying full price for the game. But I'm not going to pay more than full price for it. So hopefully they'll have that patched at some point and then I'll be able to play.
You got it on Steam, right? On PC?
No, I got it on PlayStation.
Because I was thinking, I'm surprised there's no mod. No one mods it to fix it.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably would have modded it if it was if that was the case. I'm sure they would have added lots of language support and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, no. So we have to wait on Bandai Namco or From Software.
Everything I talked about is available on the Bandai Namco website store, of course. If you buy, the $99 edition, which includes the base game and the DLC, wouldn't it be in English, or does it have to be, based on delivery? You can't get English.
From where? If I bought it from the Bandai Namco site?
Yeah, because it's a voucher code, but does the voucher code automatically comes in Chinese and
it comes in whichever region you bought it. So if I bought it, if I bought it from the American website, then yeah, I'd probably get a code, but I'd have to use my American account to access it. If I bought it from the local website, it would not have English, no.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, it was a bit of a mess, and so it was irritating. Bandai Namco's been really weird recently. Was it I Love Katamari? The remake reroll I Love Katamari reroll was in English, and then Katamari Damacy reroll was in English, but then I Heart Katamari was not in English. I don't know why they would have literally the first version's in English and then the second one's not. It's really weird. They're making really bizarre language choices over there. I don't know what they're thinking.
The translation team left. They had one English guy in Japan, he left.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was weird, though, is because Katamari Reroll, I believe, came out after Elden Ring. So they were like, oh, okay, let's make this one English. Let's not make this one English. Let's make this one English. It's just really weird choices going on over there. You'd think they would just be consistent across the board. Or in a perfect world, we would go the same route as other developers, such as CD Projekt Red is really good in that when you open up a game, they have right there the language options, and any language that is not in the base game, you can download it, and every version of the game allows you to download every version of the language. Or Apex, Respawn, if you go to their page on the PlayStation Store, under add-ons, it just has a bunch of DLC for different language packs. So you can just download whichever language pack you want. But for whatever reason, Elden Ring does not have these options. So yeah, unfortunately.
So I imagine that would be the time that Crian says, "Hi, shush, you spoke too much of one story. Let's move on to the next." So, Adam, your second story. It's
a
only the
distinct
two of us,
possibility.
so we have less stories, so we can, take 2-3 more minutes per story. But still, we need a certain amount of videos, for the channel to grow.
Yes, we do.
Unfortunately, so let's move on.
All right. So for my story, I'm going to be talking about some PlayStation stock woes. Unfortunately, PlayStation stock recently dropped $10 billion, which is a pretty steep decline. So the reasons that the reason it likely fell was probably due to adjusted PS5 sales forecast. Originally, they had expected 25 million units sold in the 2023 fiscal year, but due to winter sales, they lowered that to 21 million. So they lowered that by 4 million right there. And that was probably one of the reasons. The other likely reason is due to lower than expected operating margins in the last fiscal quarter. So that is possibly due to software development costs. So because of these margins getting smaller and because they are not selling as many units as they had predicted, unfortunately, that means that the stock has dropped. So if you are looking to buy PlayStation stock, who knows? Maybe now might actually be a good time now that it has dropped, because it will likely be doing better in the future. But yeah, unfortunately, right now it's not very good. There are other announcements, though, that might potentially also have hurt it significantly. One of them is that one of the people at Sony recently said that the PlayStation was entering the later stages of its life cycle. A lot of people mistook that to mean that it was in the last stage of its life cycle, meaning that the PlayStation 5 is essentially done. There's been rumors of the PS6 coming out in maybe 3 years or so, which might lead people to think, why even bother getting a PlayStation at this point if I'm just going to get a PlayStation 5 if a PlayStation 6 is just, right around the corner. There's also rumors of the PlayStation 5 Pro coming later this year at some point. Which actually, if anything, if they do announce the PlayStation 5 Pro, the stock probably will go up. So again, that might be a good time to buy it. But the other thing that they announced was that there are no major first-party titles that would launch until at least March 2025. So that doesn't mean that there will be no first-party titles, and it doesn't mean that there are going to be no exclusives, but there's going to be no major ones. So we're not going to be getting any God of War or Horizon Forbidden West 3 or whatever, Days Gone, Uncharted, none of those big name ones. We might get some smaller ones. We're definitely getting some kind of like adjacent ones, like for instance we're getting Project Eve in was it February, March, April. We're getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth this month in just a few days. Today's what, the 22nd here in Taiwan. It comes out on the 29th. So in 7 days, in 1 week, we're getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's coming out soon. So there are going to be exclusive games. They're just not going to be first party, and they're not going to be major franchises. So take that as you will. Yeah.
FF7 can be considered major, but...
Yeah, but it's not first party. So that's the thing. There are major ones, and there might be first party ones, but there are no major first party ones.
But what do you call first party? Sorry.
So first party would be a studio owned by PlayStation. So for example, Square Enix is not owned by PlayStation by any means. So that is a third party game. But then you have Stellar Blade, which is by SkillUp, and SkillUp has a deal with PlayStation right now. So they're kind of considered a second party game in a sense, where they're not owned by Sony, but they are very likely to be bought up by Sony at some point, or they are very closely associated with Sony. So we're not getting, so we'll be getting games like that, but none of them are going to be first party, such as a Guerrilla Games. We're not going to be getting a Killzone or something like that. Or they are not going to be majors, so they might be some smaller titles. So maybe like a Patapon kind of thing, or something much smaller, not something one of the major franchises. So as much as I love Patapon, but it's not quite God of War or Horizon or Killzone level, so Infamous or anything like that. So
At the same time, it makes sense. I mean, 2023 has been massive, right? Very choked up in big games. So I'm sure that you and me have a massive backlog of games.
Oh yeah. No, there's going to be no shortage of anything to play. I mean,
exactly for a while, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got the next 3 months spelled out for me. You know, I've got Final Fantasy VII Remake this month. I got Dragon's Dogma next month, which isn't exclusive, but I still have to play it, right? And then I got Stellar Blade after that. And then there was there was another game that's coming out a little while later, and I can't remember what it is. But I still have all my backlog. I still haven't played Forspoken, and that came out February last year. So I'm a year behind on that. You know, I'm behind on all my DLC for a lot of games. So there's going to be no shortage of games to play by any means.
And we didn't even mention Persona 3 Reload.
Yes, and Persona 3 Reloaded, right, just came out like a few weeks ago. So yeah, that's another one that's going to be added to the backlog at some point. So yeah, there's going to be no shortage of stuff to play.
On that front, and everybody knows I'm not an Xbox fanboy, but I just checked earlier with my computer being back to life. I saw the Persona 3 Reload. I wanted to go on Steam, and I saw $90, and I'm like, so I put a wish list hoping for some Steam sale, and then I opened my Xbox Game Pass, and I saw install for free, and I'm like, 7 months of Game Pass paid with one game. I love Game Pass. Xbox, please, give us some advertisement contract. I will sing your praises, no problem. Not the console, so just the Game Pass. But still, really, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great way to play Persona,
yeah. Shall we move on to my second story?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right, so not as sexy as Elden Ring, but still quite nice. I'm going to talk about Hi-Fi Rush, this game that you definitely know, which was developed by Tango Gameworks and produced by Bethesda Softworks, which came out on Windows, PC, and Xbox on January 2023. That's old news. Why he's talking about about this game? Simply because it's coming to PS5 on March 19th, so in 3 weeks, give or take. Just to remind you, Hi-Fi Rush is a good game, right? It has been nominated for Best Action Game at the Game Awards, right? Best Action Game, Best Art Direction, Best Score and Music, and won Best Audio Design. And I'm sure I'm missing one because I thought he was nominated 5 times. Anyway, this game has a lot to give. So if you don't know this game, it's a bit special. Oh yes, I think I didn't say it, but we talked about it. Adaptability, right? Or how you could call this? Adaptability?
Accessibility?
Accessibility, yes, thank you. Because it's a music-based game, based action game, and the gameplay really allowed for people with sight or I can't recall exactly, but the gameplay was based so that a maximum of people could play this game. It was pretty cool. So just a little pitch that I copy and paste. So the game is labeled defective after an experiment accidentally fuses a music player into his heart. A wannabe rock star Chai must break free from a sinister corporation with raucous rhythm-enhanced combat. So it looks really cool. I just went to get the trailer on YouTube for this podcast tonight, and the humor seems really, really good. I love the art. He has a cute little cat that he uses in combat, I believe. Honestly, sounds like a really good game, and it's definitely on my wish list for PC. So if you have a PS5 and you don't know what to play. I'm sure you know what to play. But still, if you're interested in Hi-Fi Rush, then I highly recommend this game coming out next month.
Yeah. This one's coming out. The rumors were this one, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves would be coming to PlayStation and Switch. Do you know if this one's coming to Switch, or is it only PlayStation?
No Switch. It has no Switch announcement yet, and from what I read quickly, at this time it's unlikely to hit Switch,
That's
which is
too
weird
bad.
because it's quite colorful, and I'm sure it's not really too heavy, on the Switch. That it could run it quite well. So maybe in the future stage, but right now it's not there.
That's too bad. Yeah, but yeah, so this one is, and Xbox was saying that they were going to have a couple different games that were going to be coming to multi-platform, and I know recently there's been a big demand for PlayStation to put Helldivers on Xbox as well. Hopefully they can sort out their server problems before they're able to do
It's
that.
not gonna help.
But yeah, there's been a
More
big
player.
demand for cross-platform play and people putting their games on other platforms. So I think it's a great idea. I think doing things like this where you do exclusive to your own platform for a year or so, I guess it's been since the game came out. And then, once the sales died out, giving it to another audience, I think it's great. So yeah, hopefully we'll see more of this on both sides. And hopefully we'll see Helldivers 2 available to everybody soon, because we need more bodies to throw at those bugs and automatons.
They need more servers first.
Yes, they do.
First and foremost, more machines.
All right. So then I'm going to move on to my third story then. So for my third story for today, we're going to be talking about so we had some bad PlayStation news. Now we're going to get some good PlayStation news. So if you are familiar with the PlayStation Portal, then you know that it is a streaming-only device, or at least it was until recently, when a team of Google engineers were able to crack it and put on PPSSPP, which is a PlayStation Portable emulator. So yeah, if you've been, I don't know how much memory it has on it, so I don't know how many things you can save on it, because obviously it being a streaming only device, I don't think they added a slot for adding more memory onto it, but apparently it has enough that you can put this on there. So yeah, now it is a PlayStation Portable. Granted, you can only play the original PlayStation Portable games. I think actually there might be a few Vita games that can be played on it. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a way that you can open up that old library. Now, of course, need to remind everybody that emulation is not illegal. However, downloading ROMs of games that you do not own is illegal. So if you can somehow, burn ROMs of games that you already have, then that's a perfectly fine way to experience it. Otherwise, you just take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt and be a little bit cautious out there if you're going to be playing it. But that said, I have used PPSSPP in the past because it is currently, to my knowledge, the only way, or at least an emulator, is the only way to play Valkyria Chronicles 3 in English, because unfortunately that never got a local translation. So some fans translated the game, so that's the only way you can play that game. It was released on the PlayStation Portable, I believe, in Japan only, so... But yeah, it's kind of interesting, and this also comes after rumors that PlayStation might be taking the PlayStation Portable and creating a kind of PS Vita 2 handheld. So there are rumors, it's not been confirmed by any capacity, but there is some buzz that PlayStation might be looking into creating a kind of Steam Deck esque system, where you could have some sort of portable PlayStation, maybe play some PS4 games or PS3 games. Play some of these games that are on older consoles. That as we progress in technology, we can shrink that stuff down, get more efficient cooling and whatnot. So hopefully we'll hear something on that end at some point. But until then, this is an option. Unfortunately, the creators of, or I shouldn't say the creators, but the guys who did hack this did come out and say that there is no release planned for the near future. So it did take them several months to do this, and it wasn't easy. So, they're going to be continuing to engineer it. Maybe in the future they will show us how they did it, but for the time being, unfortunately, you can't emulate this yourself, or you can't do this yourself unless you are some kind of Google engineer and you can figure it out on your own. So, but still, interesting news, and hopefully in the future we'll have some way to take our games portable once again. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great if we can play more of this game, which were released only in Japan. Do you think Valkyria 3 was good?
3, I've heard a lot of people. I haven't finished it. I don't usually play games on my phone, and that's where I had the emulator.
Yeah.
I played maybe like the first few missions. I'm not a big mobile gamer, especially not in the form factor of you having to use the screen as my buttons, because my thumbs are in front of my face, and I can't really see the screen as well. I prefer to have a peripheral, clip something on the side. But yeah, usually if I have a choice between playing something on my phone or playing something on my PlayStation, I'm going to play on the PlayStation or on the PC. I just like a bigger rig. But I did enjoy it, and from what I've heard, it's for a lot of people, it is their favorite Valkyria Chronicle. So
Really?
usually,
The first one was.
The first one's really good. The fourth one's really good, and I've heard the third one is really good. Third one, from what I've heard, is a little more gritty. For example, in the first one, you're playing as a militia unit. In the fourth one, you're playing as a unit from the main military. In the second one, you're playing as a group of students at a military academy. But in the third one, you are playing as basically a penal unit. You're basically criminals that have been thrown into this unit for whatever reason, and it's kind of a Suicide Squad kind of thing, where your guys are there and you're criminals and for whatever you've done. And because of that, it's able to show some of the grittier sides of things that maybe the regular games aren't really showing, because your higher ups don't really care about your safety or your success, as much as in the other games. Yeah, you are 100% disposable. So
yeah, of course. Which makes me think, when was the last time that Sega released a big game like Valkyria 4? They haven't dropped
Valkyria
a big
4
game
was
in a while,
released a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly where. I have the box right behind me, but I don't remember which year it released. But I mean, the biggest release that Sega's recently released would be Persona 3 Reload, which was just a couple weeks ago.
That's Atlas.
Atlas is owned by Sega, aren't they?
Oh, good. No idea.
I think they are. I can double check that. But they also are re-releasing. They recently announced an updated version of Sonic Generations. So there's going to be a new Sonic game coming out soon. Yeah, they come out with games fairly regularly.
Oh, usually it's rare, but when they do, usually it's quite the bombs that they drop. So.
Yeah.
Let's see what they come out. Maybe it would be a good thing to do a video on this, on what they have done for the past since they dropped out of the console war. All right, let's move on. So I have a third story, not the most exciting and definitely not the biggest, but I'm a bit triggered by it. I love Final Fantasy XIV, and I find it the best MMORPG on the market at this time. I love WoW, but FF14 is definitely better, at least to my taste. And so they have, what's the name? They have an expansion coming. It's Dawn something. Dawn Trail. They have a Dawn Trail expansion coming in a few months. And until then, it really feels like they are just filling the game with reheated content, right? Earlier this year, in January, they did a collab event with FF11, which they already ran in the past. Right now, February 28th, so next week, they're going to start a collab with FF15 from February 28th up till March 13, which is going to run, my understanding that's going to overlap with something called the Moogle Treasure Trove campaign, ending on March 11. And that's it. That right now they just rerun previous collab. The official text is saying that they are doing this to appeal to new players and returning players. New players, I don't know the age, but FF11, I'm pretty sure they never heard about it. And FF15 is far from being the best game. Okay, it's good because if I recall, I used to play in the first collab, because the first collab of FF15 was 5 years ago. And I recall that they had the Regalia car, I think it was called.
Yes, they did.
Which was it was a pretty cool flying mount, of course, with 4 spaces, which for the game is really cool because I think up till that date, the biggest mount was a chocobo with 2 spaces that you could get if you get married or something like this.
Yeah, they had 2, and then there was a whale that could carry 4. I think the whale came out around the same time. So if I remember correctly, this was only one. This is one of only 2 mounts that could carry 4 people at the time.
So quite rare. So of course it's gonna be fun to redo a collab if you've never done it, right? Of course. I just find it a bit lazy, thinking like, hey, let's pull all of our resources for the upcoming expansion. Especially since I think I heard that the previous expansion wasn't that much of a big hit, so really a lot is hanging on this expansion right now for the future of the game, at least. So it's really like we have a big dish coming up, but right now it's a bit light. Let's take this dish, microwave 30 seconds, ding! Here's your snack waiting for the big update. It really feels a bit like this. Oh, I don't know what you think, because you're still playing it right now, right? Or
I am. I've actually been playing a little bit this week, trying to catch up with the story and everything. I'm a little bit behind on some of my patches, so I'm trying to get ready for Dawn Trail, but yeah, the treasure trove thing is really great. They recently added kind of a new function that makes it a lot easier to find dungeons specifically for the treasure trove. So that's really cool. What the treasure trove is whenever, right before they drop new patches, typically they'll have this, and what you can do is you can go out, you can complete certain tasks, and doing those tasks will give you special Moogle tomestones, which you can then go to this Moogle and trade them in for rewards, which is really cool. Usually these rewards are things that you can normally get in game anyway, but what you can do is sometimes they're kind of hard to get. Either they're rare, or you need to do savage dungeons to do it, or you just need a good party to do it, and it's just really hard to get into a queue of people that are doing those things. So you can unlock those things a little bit easier. That's really great. And I think the reason that they're doing this is for a couple of reasons. I mean, one of them, maybe it is because it's just a really easy way to do these collabs. For instance, they recently did the Final Fantasy 11 collab again. But if you've already done them, then basically the person who is offering the quest is standing there, but they don't offer the quest because you've already completed it. It's already in your log. But if you haven't completed it, or if you started it before and you never finished it, you can pick up from where you left off. But I think part of it is, for example, in the case of Final Fantasy 15, a lot of times what they'll do is when they have special events, they'll offer those event items later on the cash store, so you can buy them later. But but the Final Fantasy 15 stuff never went up on the store. So if you were not part of the event, there is no way you could have gotten any of the gear or anything from it. So I think re-releasing some of these old events kind of gives people something to do, but it also gives people an opportunity to pick up stuff that is otherwise completely inaccessible in any other form. So yeah, I think this is really great that they're doing this again. I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't like it, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are like, elitist type people that are like, oh, I got it because I did the event the first time, and it shows, kind of what a dedicated fan I am, that I have this thing from this event. There is a form of elitism there to be able to have it and be able to say, I had this thing when nobody else did. But I still think it's a great thing. I still think it's really cool that they're doing it. So yeah, I've already done the event, so I can't do anything this time, but
I'm not thinking I'm just thinking, it really looks like they had nothing else planned, and just
no, I don't think they don't have anything else planned. They've said that they are doing a Final Fantasy 16 collab. They've already announced a Final Fantasy 16 collab. It hasn't come out yet, but they've already announced that. It's pretty guaranteed we're going to get some kind of Final Fantasy 7 remake collab at some point. We haven't yet. I don't know if they're going to be waiting for maybe the third game to release to do that. But there's probably going to be some sort of Final Fantasy Final Fantasy VII collab at some point. Also, I think the new expansion has some Midgar-like areas in it, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
For the 16, I'm pretty sure the collab is ready. It's just a question of timing. It was written that they are waiting for the biggest, for the peaked hype of Down Trail. And when it's really like, when everybody's waiting for Down Trail, the hype is there, then they drop the Final Fantasy 16 collab because they want you to buy Final Fantasy 16. Because the numbers show that, the main line of Final Fantasy game is starting to not sell as much as before, right? So, this collab is going to try to make you pump up their numbers a little bit. Square Enix, I know that you are doing a lot of Final Fantasy games and all, but if you could, reconcentrate on quality games, be great. We talked about a few weeks ago that they are dropping anything mobile to concentrate on the AAA. I think it's a great news. Now give us some good games. You did give us some great games. I have been very disappointed by the latest ones. Go ahead, you can do it.
16's good. It's different. It's definitely different, but it's still good. I mean, I understand.
No. You can't compare like 13 and 15. Ugh, kill me. I didn't play 16, so I'm not even talking about the different gameplay. I like different gameplays, that's fine. But sorry, the story of 15 wasn't finished. And I'm never going to have, DLC of the stories of the main characters is not a way to do a game. The end of the game was not finished. I'm sorry, that's not good. FF13, gameplay-wise, I found it too much of a corridor. Too much of a straight line, and I never really connected with the characters. I hated Vanilla. Oh my god! Oh, please shush. 7, 8, 9, 10. I really liked the team. There was some synergy. It was good. 13, I couldn't. 15, it was supposed to be based on the 4 guys, right? And midway through the game, I was like a little blonde guy, Pronto, I don't know. You get out, and we want the little sister of the big bodyguard, which could be a very good healer that we are dearly missing in the game. There was some choice. No. I'm sorry, no.
I play Royal Edition.
It's fun. Yeah, well... So did you hear that, guys? Do not buy our game day one. Wait for Royal Edition 2 years from now. Now that for me it's a big no. Then I know they can do great stuff. Yoshi P and Final Fantasy 14. The stories are great, at least up till what I played years ago. But honestly, it was fun. So I know they can do great stuff. 12 was okay. I liked the party. Just the game was slow. I found it quite slow, but it was still okay game. But after 12, I'm sorry. I'm just. I know I'm likely. I don't want to piss on your memories of if you're a young player and that's all you know. I don't want to destroy your memories, but really, the stories before, I find them better written.
I will say,
more complex, better written.
With Final Fantasy Type 0, the story is actually pretty good, but the writing was pretty bad. Just the voice acting was very dry. Playing through Final Fantasy Type 0 was a bit of a slog at times. But going back and watching like a recap of the story on YouTube or something like that, very enjoyable. So if you want to play something like Type 0, I would say if you're doing it for the story, go just watch a YouTube recap, because the lore is really good, story is really good, but the delivery is just not there.
For 16, since I don't have a PlayStation 5, I'm just going to wait to be able to play it in maybe 1 or 2 years on PC when they decide to port it. And likely at the time, there will be a Royal or whatever edition, which I don't know if it's gonna complete the game or if it was already complete from the start.
It's already complete. The first DLC is out. I haven't played that. That's another thing in my backlog to do. The first DLC is out. It just kind of adds some side story content. But the second DLC is going to supposedly kind of round out the game, complete the game, in the sense that there are multiple icons in the world. You encounter all of them except for Leviathan. And because you are one icon short, the ending goes a certain way. And with this new DLC, you will be able to acquire the final icon, Leviathan. And supposedly that is going to give us a new ending. So we will see a definitive ending for the game. But yeah, I am looking forward to that. But that one's still a ways out. So it's not going to complete the game. The game is already complete on its own. But this is going to give us an alternate ending. So not a complete ending, an alternate ending. So
yeah, you know what I'm missing? And you can tell me I'm a boomer or something, but I recall in my childhood, there was some games like Star Ocean where you had some characters that you could miss.
Oh, yeah.
That you could simply miss. FF7 Yuffie you could miss, right? That you could never think about this now. And that was changing your ending. And you don't need the DLC, right? Everything was complete from the first time they released it. It was full. It was, do you want this ending? Don't forget to you. And at the time, of course, there was no internet, so you had to buy the big Bibles book, which were sometimes not official or not complete or very expensive each time. I'm sorry, there was no need for DLC at the time, and it really feel like a commercial. Here's a complete puzzle. Let's resolve one piece because we can make money with it in 1 year.
Well, that's the thing with Final Fantasy 16 is the game is 100% complete, and they originally had not made plans for DLC. They were like, if the game is popular, we'll consider it, but this is not our plan. So actually, this alternate ending that we will be getting with the DLC was not the canon ending. This will be an alternate ending. So it's kind of like a what-if scenario in a sense, or just adding something, on, but it is not by any means completing the story. It is just extra, back in the, the old days of, like, say, for example, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Shivering Isles DLC. It's just extra content. You can get different path, but it in no way detracts from the original game or completes the original game. It's just extra content. So
I think you're trying very hard, but no, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's exactly it. They did not have. They said they did not have plans for DLC when the game released, and the game was complete. They said that, and I played it, and it's complete.
And we forgot one of the main summons that is in every Final Fantasy game.
They didn't forget it. It has a lore reason in the game. And then then when the game came out, people were like, we want this, we want this, we want this. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll add it in.
But fair enough. I haven't played it. So you know what? I'm going to hold on. I'm not going to do my old grumpy guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give the game a chance, and I'll try when it comes out on PC port.
Yeah, there's a lore reason for it not being in the game, but the fan base kept saying, like, we want this, we want this, we want this. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll add it in.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Do you have
I have two little extra small things that we can add on. We can tag on to the end here. Let's
push it in.
Okay. So the first one is Final Fantasy VII Remake. The demo recently came out, and so you can play the demo. It would go through the Nibelheim incident. If you wanted to play it, you could go ahead and do that. If you do, you get some extra charms and stuff that when you play the game, you get some little extra, things that you can start the game with. You can also skip that as it is the intro to the game. So you can start basically on chapter 2 because you'll already have played chapter 2. However, they have recently updated the demo. So now you can also play a section of the Junin area. So there is one mission available in it, but it's going to give you some exploration. So you can go around. I don't think it's any story kind of stuff. It's just like one side quest, and you can kind of explore the area, fight some monsters. see what to do there. But they've also added some visual fidelity into performance mode. So apparently in performance mode, it was a little bit blurry, because obviously you're scaling down. You can play it in 4K at 30 frames per second, or you can play it at 60 frames per second. It's not 4K though. So they've added some fidelity to make the performance mode look a little bit cleaner and a little bit better. From what I've heard, a lot of people still prefer the 4K mode over the performance mode, but they did add that. So go ahead, and if you've already played the Final Fantasy VII demo, this will give you another reason to go back and play it again, because you can have a second part of it. So that's good news if you're into that. And again, this game comes out in 1 week, so you have all the time in the world to do it. But if you want to do it before the game comes out, get on it right now. I'm going to be probably playing it. What day is today? Thursday? I'll probably be playing this Saturday, so I'll be burning through the demo then. So that's one piece of news. And in sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just one quick question on this, because I heard that a lot of people were screaming that Sid and Vincent wouldn't be part of this episode.
That is true.
And yet because I saw a visual of Sid on the tiny Bronco.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, so does that mean that yes, maybe no? So I guess not.
They are in the game. They have quests related to them, but they are not playable characters.
Oh. Infamy.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as Red 13 in the first one, where you get him at the end. Red 13 was basically helping you fight as a guest character, but he was not controllable by the player. We possibly might get a similar thing with Vincent and Sid, where they assist you in battle, but they are not controllable. So they are there. They are related to certain quests, but yeah, they are not part of your party in the same way that Barrett or Yuffie or Red 13 or Aerith or Tifa or Cloud or any of them are. Kutshi, Kate Sith, whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
In the next Integrate game, maybe.
They should definitely be added in the next game. So in the third game, we should have the full party. Everybody should be accessible. So
that was only 6 years waiting.
That's right. Who knows how long it'll be. But yeah. So yeah. And moving on to the other part, the other piece of news that I have is that what have I forgotten? Oh, Dragon's Dogma 2. They recently confirmed some good news for PS5 gamers. So if you are on PS5, we know that certain games require PS Plus. Of course, if you're playing on Steam, online play is always free. But if you're playing on PlayStation, some games require PS Plus. Dragon's Dogma does not really have an online component in the traditional sense, but pawns can be shared online with other people. So there is that kind of online component. You can't play with other people. There's no crossplay, that sort of thing. But this is not going to require PS Plus. So if you don't have PS Plus, you still have full access to all the pawns online. You can share your pawn with everybody else. So you don't need to have PS Plus if you want to play it on PlayStation and have access to pawns. Unfortunately, it looks like that is not the case for Xbox. It hasn't been confirmed one way or the other. However, in Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, if you were playing that on PlayStation, you did not require PlayStation Plus to share your pawns. However, on Xbox, you did need some form of Xbox Live or Game Pass or whatever in order to share your pawns. So it does look like if you are on Xbox, you are going to be needing to pay for the online component if you want to share your pawns. I'm sure most of you who are on Xbox already are, so that is not really going to be an issue, but that is something for people to know. Yeah, so feel free to share your pawns as much as you want on PlayStation. And yeah, unfortunately, if you want to share them on Xbox, you're going to need to have Xbox Live.
Which is a shame, because Dragon's Dogma without sharing your pawns, you miss a bit of the fun, right?
Yeah, you do miss a big chunk of the fun with sharing your pawns with friends. You can still get pawns. They do have pawns built into the game. They have kind of their default pawns built in, but you can't share your pawns with friends, and you can't gift them, and you can't look at all the cool creations that other people have done, which is a big appeal of the pawn system, is doing that.
Yeah. I've seen some fun stuff in the first one.
I've seen some people create. I think what was it when I was playing Dark Arisen? I saw somebody had created some. You know, Dragon Ball Majin Buu, the big fat pink thing. Somebody had created. Somebody had created that as a pawn, and so it's just following. Yeah, it's just big pink guy following you around. It was always fun to see him follow me. It just kind of stood out, but yeah. So
All right. Well, I guess we're done for tonight. We usually finish by what's your schedule for next week? So you said Final Fantasy VII, I guess. Are you streaming or?
I will stream tomorrow, and I just finished. We had Chinese New Year for over what was it, 2 weeks ago? Or starting 2 weeks? No, wait. Yeah, starting 2 weeks ago and ended Wednesday last week. But my family's been in town, so I haven't been able to stream. But starting tomorrow, they left yesterday, so they went back home yesterday. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to be able to start streaming again. So yeah, I'm going to start streaming tomorrow. I will probably stream Pal World, probably not the Final Fantasy VII demo. I'll probably do that on my own time. But I'll be streaming Pal World tomorrow, and then yeah, so regular streaming starting again next week. And yeah, until then, I'll be playing Pal World, and then I'll be playing Final Fantasy VII remake demo, and well, that's probably what I'm gonna be doing most of my time.
Fair enough. For next week, I believe we are going back to the usual regular schedule of, so for me, Tuesday, for you, Wednesday.
Yes.
Any idea if Crian will be around?
I think he said he'll be gone for what, 2 weeks? He's in South Africa currently visiting family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said 2 weeks. If he's here, that's great.
So,
but if he's not, well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about, anything and everything for hours. It's okay. I love that anyway. And I hope you do too. So, well, it's the end of the show. So once again, if you liked it, share it, share the love, give us a good lots of comments, lots of love, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.